She Talks Cars, and today we're going to be reviewing the Range Rover Velar. This particular Range Rover is the HSE R-Dynamic, so it's got the R-Dynamic styling, which is the alloys here. You've also got the lovely rose gold kind of panelling, and you've also got them here as well. So you can also get this in the Evoque as well. It's like a new styling pack that they've done, and that is an extra few grand, so make sure that it's something that you definitely need. Personally, I'd rather pay for more spec, but it does look really good. So we've got the 21-inch alloys here, which are part of the R-Dynamic pack. You do get a really great array of free options for alloys, so you know, if you don't want to pay for them, you don't have to, but you know, they do look really meaty on this, I've got to admit, especially when it's all blacked out. I think that a darker alloy, grey or black, looks really cool. I also want to show you this function, which is the handles coming out, which actually I think makes quite a nice feature to look at. It's a bit of a wow factor, especially if people are getting into your car, and also it's a really cool safety feature. I don't know if that's why they put it on, but to me it's actually really difficult to get into the car, you know, if you want to break in. Another thing that I really love, and I think it's really important when you're paying a lot of money for a car, is you need the folding headlamps. They're not cheap to replace, and if someone knocks one off, you know, it's not common that you find a good Samaritan that's going to be like, excuse me, I just knocked that really expensive head mirror off, can I pay for it? So yeah, I think it's really important. This isn't a standard on all Velar models, so just make sure it is. It is on the HSE, but if you're looking at the S model and below, it's not. So I would definitely recommend getting those to be folded. Favorite features about the Velar HSE has got to be the powered tailgate. So by using the key, you can open the tailgate, and it's really handy for those times when you're doing the farmer's walk with all your stuff from Sainsbury's and you need to put them in the boot. It's also great for if you've got children with you, when you need to put the pram in the boot. It's really, really handy. It's about 120, 160 pounds to add it as a feature, so I'd definitely add it as an option. I think that that's really handy. So let's have a little look inside the boot now. All of our crap's in here, but this is about 630 litres of space, which is fantastic. You know, you could fit a few prams in here. You can fit all your things for your children if you're going on an outing, if you're going away, if you've been shopping and you've been a bit excessive. You know, it's a boot that, you know, will fit a lot of stuff in. If you were to put the seats down, which they do fold, you're going to get about 1,600 litres, so there's a lot of space in here. There's quite a lot of height as well, so it's a really practical family car, is the Velar. Or if you're just a shopaholic and you want to fill it with all of your shopping, that's good too. So this works by either pressing the button to close, or you can also use the remote, which I think is really handy. How cool is that? Love it. The thing that this particular Range Rover Velar has got is the privacy glass. This is an option, and it'll set you back £720. It doesn't come as standard, but I really think it adds to the aesthetic of the car, so I would highly recommend getting the privacy glass. Down, and you've got two cup holders. It makes for a really comfortable long journey, so no more are we there yet. It's a bit more, oh, I'm comfy, I'm gonna have a nap, I can recline. Got the armrest here in the centre console, and inside you've got plenty of storage space for all your rubbish. Don't tell me that you don't put rubbish in here, because you do. Mine is always full of receipts. little honest nugget of information there. You've got the 12-volt port here. You've got two USB ports for charging, and that's how you connect to Apple CarPlay and also Android Auto. You've also got an option to put in a micro SIM here. So yeah, that's a lot of storage space, which I'd expect on a car of this kind of stature. Here you've got a square cup holder, which I think is really weird. I don't drink out of square. I'm not drinking a milk carton at this age, but fair enough if you are. And you've got a cup holder here. Cool feature there. You've got another cup holder there. It's the multifunction steering wheel. It's the Atlas bezel, which is an upgraded steering wheel. It's really comfortable to use. You've got these controls here that control when you're on the phone, voice recognition, speed limiters, and also your cruise control. So So one of the cool features about this seat is you get a lot of movement. You can literally just change every which part of the seat, which I think is really cool and makes for a really comfortable driving position. The driving position's really great. Obviously I'm really short, so I'm sat like this, but you don't have to be. Another cool thing that I want to show you is the memory seats, which comes as standard with the HSE. You can choose up to 3 different settings. So say for example you share the car with your partner or your friend or whoever. Obviously they're going to drive a bit different to you, so you don't have to keep faffing every single time. If my husband's sitting, he's going to be sat right back there, so I can put that on a 1. And if I'm sitting, I can put it on a 2 and I can be sat, you know, chin on the wheel. Is the fact that it's a heated seat. It's a 20-way heated seat, so it's more the premium heated seat, and that's both driver side and passenger side. And you can actually select which parts you want to heat, which I think is cool. You can also choose the cool function, which will actually make the seat cold. So it just depends. A characteristic of leather is that if it's really hot, you do stick to the seat. So that kind of gets rid of that, which I think is really cool. Really good attention to detail. Actually, on the original Velar, this is new technology, even though Apple CarPlay has been around a while. So I'm glad they've finally caught up, because I think it's really important. I mean, look at that. It looks exactly like your phone does, and it's so easy to use. I mean, ignore my ignorant messages. You can go on Apple Music and you can flick through. It's absolutely amazing. It's literally just like your phone. It's amazing. This particular model has got this as an option, which is the fixed panoramic roof. Now, to me, when you're spending £1,300 on a feature, I wanted to do the full thing. This is like a half pan, it's like a fake pan, when really what you want is you want it to fully open. So if you spend an extra £300, which in the grand scheme of things is not a lot when you're spending this much money on a car, you want it to open. So just spend that extra bit and get the full panoramic roof. All of the Velars are automatic, unlike the Evoque, which does have a manual gearbox option. It's an 8-speed auto, and it's got this little dial, or circle, whatever you want to call it. It's got one of these, whereas I noticed in the new Evoque they've got rid of this feature, and it's more like a gear stick. I actually really prefer this. I'm really glad that they've kept that in. It's just so easy to use, and it's quite a smooth drive actually. You get the parking sensors, which I think is really, really important on a vehicle of this size, because you can't see over the bonnet. It's impossible. It's so high up as well, you don't know what's down there. So I think it's really, really important to have that feature. So if you go forward, you've got sensors, and they will beep, and it will show here. There we go. And when you reverse as well, you've got the rear camera, but it will also beep as well, because you don't know what's down there. I think that's so important when you're driving, especially parking something of this size. One of my favourite features about this car has definitely got to be this, and it is a great safety feature. So where you can see that orange dot, there's 2 squares, and what will happen there is if a car comes up next to you whilst you're driving, it will come up, it will show up, and that lets you know that there's a car there and you need to check for it. It will flash if it's not safe to move, if the car's really, really close. And I feel like on a vehicle of this size, this is so important. So if you don't go for this model, definitely upgrade and get it. Definitely get this as an option. It is so helpful. And I believe it's called the blind spot monitor. So this car is saying that it's currently on 31 mpg, which is not great. However, bearing in mind the car is brand new, it's only done 600 miles. It's going to take time for the engine to bed in. So if you do buy this car and you see that the mpg is low, or any car, don't be alarmed. It just takes time for the engine to bed in, and as the engine beds in, you should get better mpg, providing you don't have a heavy foot. So I would say about this car, it's not one to get if you're looking for fuel efficiency. It's not that fuel efficient. I don't think there's any Range Rover that is. That's not what they're about. It's more about the aesthetic and the luxury and the look, and you know, that kind of look at me, which is debatable. But yeah, MPG is not its strongest point. The quotation that Land Rover gives for, or Land Rover Range Rover, whatever you want to call it, is 41.1 mpg, which is not great, and that's combined. So yeah, if you want to know what mpg is and how it's calculated, please check out my blog, because I'll explain there. I also do want to say that the running costs for this car are not cheap. I'd definitely be looking to keep it in warranty. You'll get a 3-year or 60,000 mile warranty, whichever comes first. I would always be looking to keep a car like this in warranty by extending it or buying a new one, leasing a new one. I think that's really important because the parts are quite expensive. So I'd just make sure that you're ready for the financial implications of owning one of these cars. It's not cheap. It's not cheap to run. It's not cheap to buy. And if something goes wrong, it's not cheap either. And same for servicing. So that's something that you really need to take into account. I'd say overall it's a beautiful car. I absolutely love it. I would say that I'd expect more for my money in terms of spec. I think little things like it'd be nice to have a wireless car charger like a lot of other cars have had for a few years now. Also things like the privacy glass, metallic paint, it'd be nice to have some more options. Privacy glass to be a standard on some specs. I really do think that the best value for money, in my opinion, is the Range Rover Velar S, and I'll tell you why if you read my blog. I'll go into a lot more detail there. I would also definitely be looking at the 3-litre engine as opposed to the 2-litre in the diesel, because I feel like as the car's so weighty, it does need a more powerful engine to kind of pull it across a bit more. You do need that extra bit of power, but overall I absolutely love it. I think it's the most gorgeous car of all the Range Rovers. Rover Velar. For a more in-depth description and go through the different trim lines, definitely head over to my blog www.shetalkscars.co.uk.